In today's video, you're going to see this crusty old swing arm go from this to this. What's up guys, my name is Kincaid and I am building a badass YZ300 that is going to one lucky winner when it's finished. If you haven't already entered, be sure to click the link in my description or tap the link on your screen to get yourself entered. Without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. What? I mean, yeah, you can stand if you want. I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life. As this stunner of a YZ300 comes together, this swing arm has been the part I've struggled the most with to decide what to do. As you know, I do have a blast setup, but it's not a vapor blast setup. And as Charles at MX Revival has pointed out, I can't just vapor blast a swing arm anyway, it has to be chemically treated first. For a few bikes in the past, I have utilized Prime MX cleaning wheels to strip and clean the swing arm, which is still a very viable option and is something I'm considering. But not only is it very time consuming, it is hard to get a perfect result on all of the inner portions of the swing arm that are difficult to get to. So all this said, I've been thinking about trying this. It's a silver Cerakote that's awfully close to raw aluminum. Of course, being Cerakote, it's going to be a flat look. It'll take away all of the brushed look of the aluminum. Part of me thinks it'll turn out pretty good, and if I'm not a huge fan, I always have the option to strip it. So I think I'm gonna give it a shot. This will also be a lot of work, but could be worth it. See how it turns out. In order to prep this swing arm for Cerakoting, removing all of the swing arm bearings was necessary, so that was my first step. All right, got all of those swing arm bearings removed without too much of a hassle. Throw of my vise is only 5 inches. So due to the width of the swing arm and my accepting socket, which I placed right here to accept the bearings, I had to use 4 different size sockets. So I started small, and as I pushed the bearings farther through, I worked my way up to this tallest socket. These bearings are actually in great shape, and I plan to reuse them. I was able to keep them in good shape and not damage them when removing them by using a torch. By heating this up just a little bit, it expands that aluminum to allow the bearings to slide out easily. Time to pop this into my degreaser tank. Oh, you mean your igloo cooler? Yep. Oh boy, I hope this fits. Oh, swing arm's a little bigger than I realized. Since I wasn't able to fully submerge the swing arm in the tank, I tackled it by scrubbing it with a sponge using some simple green to get all of that grease and grime off. Next up was pulling out the Prime MX cleaning wheels in order to buff out all of the pitting and scratches on the swing arm to make sure Cerakote resulted in a perfect finish. I masked the swing arm off using some rubber plugs I bought on Amazon and some heat tape on the one big hole, and then threw it in my blast cabinet and got to blasting. Let me tell you, blasting a swing arm takes a hot minute. After gassing the swing arm out for an hour to remove any residual oils, I started Cerakoting. I was skeptical on if Cerakote was going to be the right move, and this looks really, really good. I continued spraying the swing arm, making sure that I was getting full coverage. It was relatively hard to tell in some spots if it was just that raw aluminum that was sandblasted or if it was that silver, especially with the lighting, so I took extra attention to make sure I sprayed the entire part. So after all of my skepticism of Cerakote being the right choice and color, I think this turned out absolutely beautifully. Now it's time to get everything reinstalled on the swing arm. I refinished and Cerakoted this in a previous episode. I got this kit from Fastmetric that is so useful to have on any bike build. All of this old nasty hardware will be replaced, so the only items left to refinish are these. And I think we're gonna go ahead and dye these brake line guides. I put some water mixed with RIT black dye on the stove. This is a tip I learned from Cameron Niemela, and then I tossed those brake line guides in. And I moved on to polishing components using Prime MX cleaning wheels, which always do an outstanding job. If you would like some of these in your own shop, you can click the link in the description to buy some. While I waited not so patiently for those brake line guides to dye, I installed the chain guide, which has a really nice contrast to the swing arm with that midnight Cerakote, and then I installed the swing arm bearings. I did put the bearings in the freezer before installing them to make sure that I didn't damage them while installing, and everything went very smoothly. The bearings then got some fresh grease, and I reinstalled the rest of the seals and spacers. So I came over to check on these plastic parts after getting those bearings back in the swing arm, and unfortunately they're not really accepting color. Sometimes these dye beautifully, really quickly, and sometimes they don't really dye at all. I'm going to take these out and put them in the blast cabinet, and that might open up the pores in the plastic to where it will accept the dye. I blasted those brake line guides and then threw them back in that dye, unfortunately to no avail. You can see here they did darken up a little bit, so I did end up putting them back on the stove to see if with some more time they will get better. But look how nice these other components turned out with the help of Prime MX cleaning wheels. I reinstalled the freshly primed swing arm plates, and then I coated the threads of the chain tensioner bolts with anti-seize to make sure that those don't seize in the future, and installed those into the swing arm as well. I finished up by installing the chain slider, and voila, this swing arm is ready to go and looking fresh as ever. Guys, the engine for this bike is also almost done. I am hoping to have that episode up next week. So if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, click the like button, and get yourself entered to win this bike. I'll see you guys super soon with another video.